Yo, what's going on? Good afternoon, everybody. Good evening. Damon Gonzalez from Latinbox Sports. We're here in the studios, the Slip Punches Show this evening. Brought to you by Empire Pro Tape and RX Water. We appreciate everybody tuning in this evening. We have a really good show tonight. We're bringing in another world champion. Man, we love to bring in all the fighters, no matter who they are, the fans, the cut men, everybody involved, the commission, anybody involved in the sport, even the fans, man. We just like to bring people on and chat and talk and just keep it going. So without further ado, I'm going to introduce everybody and bring on the show a wonderful person, wonderful fighter, man. Look, this fighter has grown a lot. He's legit. He's a great person, and we're looking forward to talk to him. The WBO World Super Featherweight World Champion, Jamel Herring. Let's welcome Jamel Herring to the show. Jamel Herring, how you doing, sir?
I'm good, Dan. Good to see you, man. Good to see you, man.
Man, it's great to see you too, champ. Great to see you. Listen, what a ride, right?
Yeah, right. Exactly. Definitely.
We definitely not going to keep you really long because we understand the process of training camps, especially when it comes leading up to fights that are like just around the corner.
Right. It's
So
cool.
let's start with that, man. How's camp going for you?
Oh, camp's going good. Camp's going good. I literally just got back probably about 20 minutes ago. But I feel good. I feel good. I feel like I'm getting stronger every day. Um the closer that we get to the fight with Shakur, I'm more excited because it's another opportunity to showcase what I can do in big fights. So yeah, everything's going good. I really can't complain.
That's awesome, champ. That's awesome. Listen, let's bring it in, man. Let's talk about the roots. You actually grew up in New York.
Right.
You started boxing like honestly, like what, 20 years ago? 20
Yeah,
years
yeah,
ago.
yeah,
About
yeah,
20
yeah,
years ago.
yeah.
You went into the gym and they invited you in the gym and you went in there and I guess it was something it seemed like you like to do is
It
throw
just yeah,
your hands.
it just clicked. It just clicked for me. Like I went in with my good friend Ashanti Hendrickson and his father. His father was a trainer. His father was my first trainer, Mr. Austin Hendrickson. And I just went in just because I was never like I was always active. I was always doing something. I was always playing the sport. So and I didn't feel like just sitting at home or running around the street. So my boy Ashanti, he just invited me to the gym, and how you go into one of the old school gyms, you see all the flyers and the posters and of the the
That's right.
cards and the big matchups. So like one of them old school, like you could smell it, type gyms. And I was just amazed of all the history from all the big fights from the past generations, even long before I was in around, and just looking at all that memorabilia, and I just got hooked with just seeing everyone in there working with a sense of urgency and a purpose. So I just wanted to be a part.
And you little man, you were dealing with that real gym heat because in our
Yeah,
generation today, I go in gyms to interview fighters. It's like central air conditioning.
yeah,
It's not the
right.
same.
No, yeah, those gyms. I mean, it's nice, but it doesn't have that old feel and that grit. You know what I mean? Like you can literally go into the see where fighters had literally spilt their blood, sweat, and tears at. You know what I mean? So those are gyms that I came from when I was back in New York.
Now, listen, we're gonna attack some really good, interesting stuff about you coming up. But I want to ask you: the family's good, everybody's safe. I know you got sick a few months back, and it's great to see you feeling better, man.
Yeah, I mean, thank God I was the only one that got sick from the pandemic, from the COVID. Last summer actually now, but yeah, as far as as far as I see and know, everyone back at home is doing they're doing good. Kids are healthy, going to school, so I can't complain. I'm just happy that everyone's out there taking.
Now, I love the fact, champ, knowing about your history and knowing who you are. You've come forward as a very, very young man and decided in your life, loving boxing the way you were coming up,
Right.
you decided to serve our country. you decided to become a United States Marine. And boy, wow, what a big opportunity that was for you. And humbly watching and looking at a lot of your archives, champ, you were legit, man. You served our country well.
Thank you. I appreciate that, but I owe a lot to the Marine Corps. You know what I mean? When I went into the Marine Corps, I had to take a break from boxing. Of course, I was still 17, going on 18 while I was in boot camp. So I was still a kid. I was still a kid myself, and I had to quickly mature. While I was in basic training down in Parris Island, South Carolina. So a lot of my roots or in the person that you see today came from basically those Marine Corps traditions, and just working my way up the rankings over the years, and seeing everything that I've seen and experience and going through some of the tragedies of course, and throughout my lifetime, just made me who I am today. If anything, it just kept me grounded, and it made me appreciate things a lot more in life.
Champ, what was very also intriguing was the fact that not only you transitioned and grew into a man, because you moved up in rank to sergeant in the Marine
Right.
Corps, and not just that, and the sturdiness of that. I mean, I can't even imagine. You had two tour duties in Iraq. You've amazingly served this country well, and on top of that, your love for boxing. You fought in the Corps. There was championship young boxing opportunities for you. So you were kind of juggling both.
Right. It's crazy. I actually could have gotten out of service in 2011, but I opted to extend a year to represent the Marine Corps during the whole Olympic
Right.
run. So yeah, I mean, and that just goes appreciation and gratitude for because a lot of my amateur experience came under the Marine Corps, and that's why I felt like I couldn't just exit without showing my appreciation and representing them at the 2012 London Games. So yeah, I mean, even then after the Olympic Games, I was still juggling to see what I wanted to do, if I wanted to continue to stay in active duty service, or just get out and go professional. But after the Olympics and everything, I felt like I reached the rank of sergeant, which I was proud of. I did two tours in Iraq in 2005 and 2007. So I felt that I did everything that I could ask of myself as an active duty Marine, and I just wanted to take it to the next level and go professional.
Now, definitely, because you fought a lot of your colleagues and a lot of great other fighters in the sport. You fought Mike Reed, you fought Danny Jacobs, many fighters that you've touched gloves with in the amateurs. Man, it just helped you to get to where you are.
Oh
Let's
yeah, yeah,
go.
definitely. I mean, definitely. I even fought these and fought my good friend Josh Taylor. Me and Josh
That's
Taylor
right.
had fought to a close fight. He had beat me by 2 points, but after that,
Wow.
we just became good friends, and we've always stayed in contact since then. This is back in 20 London when I first met him, and
Wow.
me and Josh, we just watched each other grow as professionals, and I'm happy for him. He's happy for me where I'm at. I was roommates with my good friend Jose Ramirez. Of course, I was roommates with Jose during the Olympic trials, and it was funny. Like every time he would win, I would win. So we was like feeding up each other's energy during the
Wow.
Olympic trials. So me and Jose always close since then. Like we was always roommates. We was roommates there. We was roommates in Brazil. We was roommates in at the OTC training center. So me and Jose always been close as well. And yeah, I mean that's why I give a lot. I give a lot of respect and appreciation to the amateur program as well, because the amateur program, it basically created a lot of good relationships that I still have today. Even now, for further into my own professional career, I still keep track of my own Olympic team. My teammates
That's
from
beautiful.
Clarissa, Marlene, Marcus Brown, Rashid Warren, Joseph Diaz, and the list goes on. So I always keep track with those guys, and we just created a bond throughout our amateur careers, and we just stayed in touch.
Now, is that and what you're saying? It's amazing because that's what it's all about. That's what's up right there. You know that you guys
Yeah,
keep in touch with each other. Is that your message to the younger generation today as they're lacing up for these amateur fights, man? Would you
definitely,
recommend
definitely,
they stay
because
close?
it's something like that was pointed out to me before we even started speaking. It's like a lot of these kids, they look and see, what we do on TV and the glamour and stuff like that. And then, today with the social media, everything, information is, obtained, meaning like, that people hear about how much you make, the per stuff like that. But, they don't realize all the stuff you have to go through to get to that level. You know what I mean? And for me, I always say that it always starts at the amateur level. And like to make it easier for people to understand, I always tell people like, listen, your amateur record is like a job resume. Like you're building a resume before you get to the big stage or that job that you really want, which is the professional rankings. I always say if you want to be successful in the professional rankings in terms of not just how much you can make, but how you're moved in the management that you can link up with, you need to have a strong amateur background and resume to make it, to make it a lot easier for your role, where you want to get at. Because if you don't have that background or that backing, it's a harsh, cruel sport. They don't see that. There's guys out here who've been clawing and digging for years and they still can't get to where they want to, or they got to go through the hard route, which is constantly being the B side and probably taking hard, tough fights on short notices. And so I mean a lot goes into it, and it's rough out here. So I always recommend that these young fighters. And I was going to say young men, but now we've seen that the women's boxing is growing big as well, which I'm happy. I just prefer these young fighters. They need to really, just their craft and mold themselves as in the amateur rankings, because even if you don't, everybody's not going to make the Olympics, but if you have a solid amateur background, it can take you far.
When you laced up your gloves in your first professional fight as a pro, and you seem like you express yourself, you pinpoint so many things about your career. You on point with recognizing so many wonderful times. Do you remember that time? Do you remember that time of your first pro fight?
Yes,
You got
yes.
through the fight. I want you to talk about that because it's that transition.
My first pro fight. It was actually the night that Marquez knocked out Pacquiao, but I wasn't on the top rank card. I was on a Golden Boy card on Fox Sports.
Okay.
I was signed with Al Heyman, but this was when Al Heyman was working with Golden Boy. So I was on the card out in California at the time, the Home Depot Center, I believe it was called. And man, I just remember just being nervous because there's no headgear. No headgear. There's no top. It just trunks and gloves. But I was thinking about where I came from to get to that, and I would say I'm here for a reason. So, but I remember just going in there and getting through that first round and just getting the butterflies out, shaking the nerves, and until I found my rhythm in there. And I came out with unanimous decision. But that night always plays out in my mind all the time, because when you see me with my Marine flag, it was actually given to me by a friend that two friends of mine that I served with, and they came to the fight that night and they gave me that Marine Corps flag, and ever since that day, back in December of 2012, that same Marine Corps flag has been with me with every fight.
Wow.
So I was carried. I mean, I even took it overseas with me when I went and fought Carl Frampton back in April. So that Marine Corps flag has been with me, and it's just something that something that I always gives me a sense of where I came from, and and what I had to get through those rough times to get where I'm at today.
Now, champ, the discipline obviously has always been there. In a blink of an eye, you went through your career. And there was never, that I remember at all, there's really never any issues with weight, with weight cutting. Why is that so dangerous in boxing today? Why are fighters forcing themselves to make their weight? I mean, that's really an issue.
A lot of it sometimes comes from the fact that fighters don't want to lose money, of course, on the scales. But like you got to start taking care of yourself, not only in the gym but out the gym as well. It all like a lot of this stuff goes on when the cameras aren't on. So and then you've seen it yourself throughout the recent memory. Just like I said in the blink, we've had too many injuries when fighters are having all these head injuries because they're dehydrated, which comes from bad weight cuts. They're not putting on a great performance in the ring because they didn't have enough fuel up or put the proper weight back on. So but guys like me, they say I'm a big junior lightweight, but I take care of myself out even when I'm not even training for a fight. And I was smart enough to bring on a nutritionist. Like boxing, like any other sport, evolved. It's long from the days where you just seen guys out there with sauna suits on every day, running out there on the road. No, like technology has advanced so much that it's even came into combat sports where now fighters are starting to take more responsibilities of how what they put in their bodies in terms of nutrients and so on and so forth. Like I'll tell you right now, I drink a gallon of these every day. And that's 8 pounds of water, but it's necessary. Every day. I'm drinking a gallon of water so I can stay dehydrated. And more importantly, when I'm in there taking the punches, I have fluid in my brain to protect me from causing any further injury that I may not that I don't get later on down the road. Because because like I said, we see fighters, they get put in comas because there's no fluid around the brain, and then when they head smacks the canvas, it's not a good thing, and that causes all the swelling and all the head injuries. So people think like, oh, that's too much water. Water is you sweat that out. It's not like it's fat where it's sticking onto you. If you do it properly, you're gonna just sweat all that water out. Like I'll tell you right now, I've been drinking gallons like that for the past since I got with my current trainer Brian McIntyre, and this is when I was coming from lightweight down to junior lightweight, and you guys, like you pointed out, I've never had an issue on this scale. Even my last fight, being a bigger man, I came in lighter than Carl Frampton because I did everything I was supposed to do in terms of listening to my nutritionist and taking care of my body.
And Champ, just to go back a little more, and a big shout out to Bomac, man. Bomac, man, he's doing such an amazing job with the entire camp.
Oh yeah, definitely.
And let's go back, because the one thing I recognize, and I wrote about this quite a while back. You're a fighter that you didn't pick your fights. It was about whoever they put in front of you, you're gonna fight them.
Right.
That's the type of fighter you are. And I remember shooting ringside with my boy Mikey from Top Rank, and we shot in Florida. You came down there, and they bring Masayuki Ito from Tokyo, Japan, to Florida to fight you. What a fight that was that night. Wasn't that an incredible night?
Oh yeah, definitely. Especially when you consider the fact that it was my daughter who passed away. It was her 10th birthday, and it was on Memorial Day as well. So the night meant so much. But
yes,
I was determined because I had my back against the wall. They thought I would just had a great story of the Marine who's been through hell and back, and he finally got his chance at the world title. That was the story at the end. But I mean, for me, I wanted to go take it further. I wanted to, to prove that there's more to me than just being happy with getting a title shot. And that night I put on one of the best performances of my career. And even then, I wasn't satisfied. You see me right at the end, Miguel, who was the man at the time, and I gave him full respect. He was the man. He was the guy of the division. They was in talks of making a unification matchup with him, and I was all for it. I was all for it. Next fight with unification measure with Burchell, but that never happened. But that goes to show you that if you tell me I can't do something, I'm gonna prove you wrong. So if I'm afraid to fight this fighter or that fighter, I'm like, no, I mean, make it happen, and I feel like, what do I have to lose? I already felt like I've beaten all the odds, in the past. I wasn't even supposed to be here as they say, and look where I'm at now, and I'm still on top. If you look out, I mean, even now, just looking around in the division, I have the most title defenses in the division. So
Right.
and even then, people still doubt me, but it doesn't bother me. It continues to motivate me and just makes me push even further to go just see how far I can go in the sport of boxing.
October 23rd, Atlanta, Georgia. You ready for another big title?
Yes.
This is a title defense. And what kind of Semper Fi we going to see that night?
My mindset, honestly, for this fight is not even like, of course, I'm a champion, but I don't have the mindset as a normal, world champion defending a title. I have the mindset as if I'm the B side, but I have something to gain, something big to gain from this fight. And for me, the motivation for this fight was the fact that everybody like a lot of people put Shakur on a high pedestal, rightfully so, because of especially him being a silver medalist in the amateurs, whatever. But like since people put him as like sometimes the next Mayweather, that motivates me to go get that O because I want to be the first to say that that I beat him, and I want that. I did it with a young guy when I fought Lamont Roach. He was undefeated at the time, and I went out there. And it was actually it's funny because that was my mandatory challenger at the time, an undefeated young fighter, and I went out there and I beat him. And I took his O. And my next mandatory, another undefeated young fighter. I want to do the same. And because my main goal at the end of the day is I want to become the lineal champion of the division. And of course, I don't look over anybody, but because even Shakur, it's a big fight. It's a big fight for my career, but I want more. I want more, and I do hope after Shakur, I can get guys like Oscar Valdez, in the ring before I decide what after that with the division. But yeah, I mean, for me, I'm motivated. That's why I was kind of bothered over the weekend. Now that you actually, because I'm listening to commentating with Tim Bradley, they're saying because I didn't act out a character that I bowed down and I showed some like basic kind of weakness. I'm like, just because I don't get up there and argue and act a fool doesn't mean that I'm intimidated by anybody. I mean, if you look back, I want everybody who's even looking at this. I want you to go look back at that press conference when we were facing off. When he faced forward to the camera, my vision is, it was still on him because I'm definitely tuned in and locked in for this fight. I don't care what people say about oh he's this or that. I give him his respect, but at the same time, when the bell rings, you got to put all that. You got to put all that mess in. You got to back it up. You got to back it up now. So people sit there with like guys when they get on it, start commenting saying that I was fearful of like, come on, man. Just like when he said I had no heart. Oh, it didn't bother me. Why did things not bother me? Because it's not true. If it was true, people will show some sense of uncomfort and try to make every excuse in the book to change the narrative. For me, I just shrug it off. Okay, if you feel this way, okay, whatever. That's your opinion, but I'm just gonna just prove you wrong.
Man, I appreciate those comments, Champ, because with all due respect, there are writers, including myself, that clearly know you're the A side in this fight, and there's no question about that. And I'm sure Paco, the WBO, feels the same. You coming in as the world champion.
Shout out to my guy Paco.
That's what's up. Yeah, so I'll be there, and we're gonna be looking forward to this fight. And again, I don't want to keep you real long, and I appreciate you coming on the show.
Anytime,
we can get together after, man.
My face, like I'm telling you, I'm excited. I'm motivated. I'm not here. I don't like. What is there to worry about? I mean, yes, he's a good fighter, but that doesn't say I can't. I can fight too. So I'm really. Like what Bomac said, basically just the fight like he was at Ito, he wants to see another performance like that, but even better. Like that's the mindset that I have. I'm going in there with something again to prove, and I don't really matter. It doesn't matter what people say. People who really know me know that I come to give them my all. So I'm happy. Like that's why you don't see me. You see me on social media. I'm not out there attacking anybody. I'm not out there trying to jab and disrespecting the fight. Like, no, I'm just like, hey, they did it with the Feather fight. They went out and said, oh, he's weak, he has no heart, he's mentally weak. He struggles to make the weight. How he's killing himself, and then we seen how the outcome came in. And I didn't say a single bad word through the whole buildup. And even now, I'm not gonna sit there and argue with you. I'm just gonna be like, hey, because at the end of the day, you got what you wanted. October 23rd, we have to fight, and that's it. That's how I look at it.
Definitely, champ. This is what we want the young fighters to understand. This is what we want them to see and admire this. Admire this, how important it is to stay focused and locked in.
Oh yeah, definitely. As long as like you said, just stay focused. As long as you have in my opinion, a great team behind you, a solid backing, that's all that matters. Who cares? Who cares what the public or whoever got to say about you? I mean, because I look at it, every sport's like that. Everybody wasn't a fan of the Michael Jordan Bulls in the '90s, but we knew how great. You know what I mean? It doesn't matter. Like, everyone's gonna have some type of criticism along the way, and I even tell fighters this: you got to learn how to tune things out, and I tune everything out. Even when people praise me, I don't dive deep into that either. You know what I mean? I still tune out because I still have a job to do in order to continue, looking the way people look at me as even when they're cheering for me. So I still have a job to do. So it main thing, but I love the doubt because it just makes me push even harder. Like I even asked my trainer today, like, hey bro, man, like, did I do enough today? He's like, oh no, you worked hard, but it's like, because I feel like I have something to prove so much that I want to make sure that I don't leave unturned, and that's just how I am. Even now, doesn't matter how my career, how much I've made, or what I've achieved. I always want to show there's still more out there. Don't just settle for here. If you have the privilege and honor to wake up every day, that should be a day. That's, I always say, make every day your best day. It should be a day. Little progress is better than no progress, and that's just how I am.
Hey champ, T&K Promotions is tuning in. They say you're one of their favorite fighters, man.
I appreciate that. Like I said, man, you know me. I love everyone who loves me, so I greatly appreciate that, and I always remain humble and grounded. Thank you.
Mel, please take a second and give some love and a shout out to all your fans, man.
Oh, I mean, definitely. I just want to give a shout out to everyone who's been with me since day one, even still here with me today. Through the ups and downs, everything I've been through. If you know me, I always take time to speak with everyone out there and everyone as much as possible. So that's just who I am. I get on there fighting. Even when I'm not fighting, I get on there and I'll speak with the people and just have a good time. And for me, I don't like. I don't know. I don't like to refer to people as fans. So I always call them my supporters and those who are behind me. Because that's just, like I said, when people categorize fans, sometimes they have that diva mentality. For me, I just feel like I got a lot of great supporters out there, and I appreciate that. So, thank you. Like I said, thank you all. And if you guys want to reach me, reach out to me. Hit me up on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, all the same at Jamel Henry. And like I said, if I don't get back to you, I'm busy. But I always try to get back to everybody. Man, like. I was like, I gotta get with David, man. That's my guy since day one, but I just been grinding.
Appreciate you, champ. And listen, I'll see you in a couple of weeks, all right?
All right, see you too. I'll see you there.
Thank you, champ. Take care.
No problem.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in the Slip Punches Show with Jamal Herring, October 23rd, Atlanta, Georgia. Let's get it. Jamal Herring versus Shakur Stevenson. We're looking forward for a big fight. And again, thank you, everybody, for tuning in. Happy birthday to Mr. Al Bernstein from Showtime. Al, you the man, bro. Bless you, brother. Take care, everybody, and have a good night. This is Damon Gonzalez from Latinbox Sports. I'm out.